Welcome back to Teaching After Effects, and we're still looking at this shot, which is almost becoming a bit of a widowmaker. Now, I think it's fine as we've got it. We've got the foreground fading into the background, but it's not perfectly lined up. The camera was handheld. It's gone a little bit darker in the final shot. So what we want to do is just fix that. So let's solo the actors layer and the background layer. Okay, and let's drag the current time indicator to about halfway in the fade. And there you can see the problem. So what we need to do, grab the background layer and drag it until the buildings more or less line up. It'll never be perfect, but see what you can do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Now, we're getting a bit of transparency because, funnily enough, we're now looking at the edges of the frame. So what we want to do is make background a child of actors. And to do that, we'll use the Pickwhip in the column in parent and link and drag that onto actors. So anything we now do to actors in terms of its position, its scale and its rotation, background will copy. So we should also make sure that all the other layers are also children of actors. So holding shift, select glow right, and now click on lens flare 2 and use that same Pickwhip to link to actors. Cool. Now, so we don't need to worry about that. That's taken care of it. So what we now want to do is select the actors layer, hit S to expose the scale property, and now we can start scaling that up. Now you can do it by grabbing the edges as you're doing there, or you can use it in numbers. Now if you do it by there, you've also got to hold shift so that it keeps the aspect ratio the same. And you can move it around the frame until you're happy with it. Cool. So we've only gone up 3%. I think basically anything under about 20% you can get away with before it starts to show up. Now let's go backwards and forwards as you're doing. Mm-hmm. It's definitely lighter. The sun was out when they were shot, and then a couple of seconds later, it obviously goes behind a cloud and it gets a bit darker. So let's lighten that up, making sure the background layer is selected and in shot, because right now it's not at all in shot. So go there, yeah. And now let's search for levels in effects and presets. Now, depending on what you're comfortable with, obviously curves will do a better job. There is things like auto levels and all sorts of color corrections, but levels is the quick way. So get that and drag it, onto background. No, that's put it onto the layer at the very top level. So Control Z to undo it. Get levels and drag it onto the timeline one. Brilliant. And then using the midpoint control on the histogram, you can adjust that. And if you keep switching, if you toggle off the actor's solo dot, you can switch between the two. And I think you got it immediately, didn't you?
Bit more. Maybe there.
Cool.
Good enough.
Cool. So let's play that back and see what that looks like. Oh, unsolo background, and you'll be able to see everything together.
Okay. Can I change his...
it's cut, even though we tried to get it to not, it's cut out as CA anyway.
Can I change that now, or is it too late?
No, we can double click on glow right to go into the layer controls. And if you make sure the rotor brush is selected, and the effect as well, I think we need to select, just click on it there. Now you can go in and fill that in.
Oh.
Okay, let's just see. I think it's going to keep that and propagate it through like it has done. So leave the layer, because we're not looking at the composition here, we're just looking at that layer. Preview that and see if that's done it. Yes, that fixed it. So just like in the previous video, you could draw a circular mask, you could feather it, you could keyframe it, or if you select glow left and hit M, just the one M, you'll see the two masks. Now mask 2 is that circular mask that grew and expanded. So select that, Control C to copy it, select glow right, and Control V to paste it. Now, if we hit M now, you'll see it there, and make sure it's selected. What we want to do is change intersect to add, because we don't have any other masks on, and drag the current time indicator until we're on there. And now we can see the mask is showing up. We couldn't see them because we didn't have an active layer. And drag that circle onto him from one of the filled in dots, not from the middle. So select it again. Yeah. Exactly, there you go. Okay, and if you hit U on the keyboard to see the keyframes, you see the keyframes are way back there because that's where we pasted it.
Right.
So get those and drag them to line up with the layer as in and out points.
Right.
Yeah.
There.
Well, where the in point matches.
Ah, the roto brush makes everything slow.
Yes, it does. But then, so the time you gained using the roto brush, you then lose as you tweak it.
Okay.
Okay. So let's play that back and see what you... Now, if you were really happy with the roto brush and you were having to do this a lot, you could render just that sequence out. You wouldn't then be able to make any changes to the roto, but you wouldn't have this processing each time. So I think that's better already. Mm-hmm.